The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of Phoenix and Levy's con. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, it's what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. A lack of proper investment is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium, just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be in town. Post-match show time. Smash a like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. You know the drill. You know how it works. Do what you do best. Everyone in the chat, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Thanks for being here as always, you wonderful people. Michael, Mari, Spurs losing 1-0. Arguably should have been 2, maybe should have been 1-1, who knows. But it finished 1-0 in the end. We'll get into it. We'll discuss all the talking points, the starting lineup, the substitutions, the tactics, the league table. Michael, that you know when the performances look so similar every single week, it gets to the point where who are we waiting to come back from injury for us to be a good football team exactly? Is it Solanke? Is it Van der Ven? I mean, we've signed Odebert, he's back. We've signed Tell, he's back. Werner's back from injury. All the midfielders are fit. We don't have one injured midfielder. The back four, all the wing backs are back. We signed Danzo. Gray's generational. Vicario's back. What? We got absolutely rinsed in that first half. It could have been 4-5-0. Second half, we rallied, good energy, got back into it. But it all kind of meant nothing in the end. So what do you make of it, Michael? And how you doing, bro? Hope you're well.
Yeah, overall pretty well, right? I'm kind of sad that we lost today. I actually think that like overall, like maybe that's a bit of a recency bias, but that second half kind of like, made that game better than it actually probably was, right? When you look at the balance of play, the statistics, the chances created and all that stuff, I think that Man City were the deserved winners, right? But as I said to you in the lobby before we started the show, right? We could have been 3 or 4-0 down, but we weren't, right? So when you look at the second half performance with that in mind, that we were only 1-0 down, I was sad that we didn't score the goal, right? And I think the way you put it in the title, that the forwards cost us, I think that's absolutely true, right? Because as much as we didn't create like clear-cut opportunities. I think the chances were there, right? If we had better finishers, I think there was a possibility of scoring 1 or 2 goals against them, right? Which isn't. Then we would debate whether we were the deserved winners or whether the draw was deserved, but whatever, right? It didn't happen after all. But one thing I have to say, like the question that you asked about the injuries, right? Yeah, that's as you said, those performances look really similar to each other, right? Like if you actually look at it, the way we played against Ipswich, it was kind of like same. We were just the better team compared to Ipswich, right? So we actually took control of the game, scored a couple goals, right, and the game was done. The issue is that when you face teams like City, who have like enough quality to actually stop us from scoring, right? And you have a world-class manager like Pep Guardiola, who absolutely school effed, Ange in the first half tactically, right? And I hope we talk about it, right? I think Ange was completely outdone in the first half tactically. The second half, I'm not sure whether it was tactics or more about the energy that that the pendulum swung the other way. But yeah, as you said, like who else is left that's really important for us? What, like Romero, Van de Ven, and Solanke, right? I guess those three are the guys that are left that would be playing today, possibly, right? Or at least like 1 or 2 of them. Listen, does the game change with Van de Ven and Solanke? Maybe they stop the cross that led to the first goal by City, maybe, right? Or maybe not. Because that's Spurs, right? I cannot give you a definite answer, right? Because that's how we play. We just don't know.
Still?
Yes, Dietrich, you okay?
Yeah. I hope everyone's doing well. I cannot stay too long. Can I just go quickly and leave you guys to it? Just quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say I'm extremely disappointed with this obese manager that almost lost his breath after running 1 meters. Yeah, he lost his breath at halftime.
I get it made the same comment.
Yeah. How can you bench a player that's only played 13 games all season? I don't understand it. And we're playing against one of the best 1v1 wingers in the league, which is Doku. I don't understand it, but once again, it doesn't make sense. We all said once Udogi and Poro are both healthy, they're gonna start. And once again, it happened. I told everyone Archie Gray cannot play center back. It's nothing against the broke. I'm not saying he's crap. I just don't think that's his position. And you can see he's not comfortable. The way he got cooked by Doku on the first goal, and he was marking in no man's land. I don't blame him, but unfortunately, I gotta criticize him. Who else? Matthias Tell. I've watched Bayern because of Kane. I follow Kane religiously. I told everyone Matthias Tell is not a good player. It doesn't matter if you're French or if you play for Bayern. There's a reason why they let him go, and there's a reason again why he doesn't even play for his national team because he's crap. He can't. He can't score. He can't pass. He can't hold up the play. What is he good at? Some people are gonna say he's a winger, but even as striker, the bare minimum he cannot do it.
Yeah, but
Brennan
Dietrich,
Johnson, Beetlejuice.
He's just a kid. Be patient. Give him time.
I don't give a shit. I'm not Epstein Island. I don't like kids. That's not my forte.
Dietrich, please don't speak about the phone line because I told Michael and Stelios that I have a big nugget, and I don't want you to steal my thunder, my nugget. I'll pass it back to you. But since you mentioned Brendan Johnson, I'm gonna say this: this manager that we have is a buffoon. I'm gonna steal this word. Stubborn Gunner, a buffoon. You know why Ange is a buffoon? I'm not even gonna say about the whole Spence thing, which was criminal. You know why Ange is a buffoon? Big game at home against City. Tap-in merchant, right? Tap-in merchant, Brennan Johnson. Who has given Brennan Johnson these assists all season? Madison, okay, started. Sonny and Kulu. Where was Sonny and Kulu? On the bench. So today, this buffoon wants to experiment with Olderberg, right? Because I didn't want Johnson to start. But if Johnson's going to start, at least get his wingman, Kulu and Son, who assist his tap-ins, to be playing with him. No, he starts Olderberg and Tell, who you just talked about, who's garbage. You experiment with these two to hook up Johnson. You know Johnson can't create on his own. He needs help. The help that he needs, you put him on the bench. You at least put Tell in the second half, or could have put Olderberg in the second half, or do a sub. That first half, right? We want to control offensively. But this buffoon put the two wrong dance partners with Johnson. This guy's a buffoon. Buffoon. And all the assists that Johnson have come primarily from Son and Kulu. But you bench them and you put the two new dance partners, never played.
Dance partners. Matty,
Mario, we can't hear you.
muted yourself. Mari,
Yeah.
you muted
Mario, we
yourself.
can't hear you.
Mari.
We can't hear you, Mario.
Mari.
I think he lost connection. He lost connection, yeah.
Mario, we can't hear you.
Muted yourself.
I think he's done. Yeah, just to continue on what he's. Yeah, just to continue on what he said.
He got so angry that the internet just shut him off.
Yeah, just to continue quickly before I have to go and pick up everyone as always, doing an excellent work. The moment we turned the game around, I'm not saying we're about to score, but we look good. That's the moment that he makes the subs and killed everything. I don't rate Odeberg. I don't think he's good enough. But he was trying his best and he improved second half. Tell had to come off. I agree. Johnson, I'm sick and tired of watching this light-skinned Beetlejuice. He pisses me off. He is trash. And Berg, no, honestly, the only one I'm going to give props.
What you're saying, man, you're going to get this channel shut down.
No, I said the light-skinned Beetlejuice. There's nothing racist. I said the light-skinned Beetlejuice.
I mean, we can debate whether that's a bit racist. But...
No, that's not. Beetlejuice is green. He's light-skinned, so I'm going to call him the light-skinned Beetlejuice. But then, Bergva, honestly, props to him. For 18-year-old, he looks good and he has quality. I'll give him props. He played really well today. Madison, meh. And the subs, I don't know what to say. They were all trash. And Son can't finish for his life. And Kulu, please just sell Kulu. I'm tired of this guy. Even the way he warms up, you can tell this guy's not stiff at anything in life. Get him out.
Mark, good to have you on the show. Love the t-shirt. Change for Tottenham. Love
Brilliant, man. Arrived today.
Yeah. Good. Who sorted it out? JP?
Yeah.
Oh, top man.
Yeah, he sent me the link. Top man. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
Well, they're on your site now, I think, and with all the rest of your merch.
Yeah, look, JP's in charge of that stuff. I don't really know too
all
much.
right.
So,
All right.
yeah,
that's right.
I just try and get shows up and running. In a minute or two, describe what you just saw today at Spurs.
Well, there was as much as I expected, to be honest, because we were wide open. Even Glenn Hoddle doing the commentary. I'm not sure if you watched it on Prime.
By the way, take care, everyone. Have a good night.
See you later, Dietrich.
Right.
Take care.
Right. Even Glenn Hoddle was saying, we're wide open at the back. Wide open. He said, what are they doing? And it's just what we're used to now, isn't it? Honestly, it's no different than what we've been like all season. I was expecting us to lose. To be honest, even though I keep putting 5-0 in the chats and all that, but I always put that. But he just doesn't learn. He hasn't, if you're getting ripped apart constantly, you'd thought he'd change something, but he doesn't. So It's nothing more than I expected. To be honest.
You know what, Mark, right? I think this game perfectly encapsulates both like the strong and the weak sides of this system, like and perfectly like exposes them, and also exposes Ange as a manager, right?
Yeah.
Because you said about us getting ripped to pieces, right, in the first half. It's almost as if he doesn't watch the teams he is playing against, right? Because me, you, Stelios, anybody else who is in the chat, right, who watched that game on the weekend, Liverpool against City, right? You saw Doku and Savio rip Robertson and TAA in one-on-ones, right?
Yeah.
So why the hell does it take him 45 minutes to adapt to that, right? Because I think in the second half we actually adapted to Doku and Savio. The wingers were dropping way back in. They were, covering for the fullbacks. We were 2v1ing the Doku and Savio, and they didn't do much in the second half, right? But why does it take you 45 minutes to understand that, right? Do you have to see it with your own? Like, what did he expect? That, like he saw the lineup and he couldn't figure out that's the same thing that happened to Trent and Robertson will happen to Poro and to Doggy. Like, that's such an obvious, like, thing to try and mitigate, right? Which is, as I said, it exposes Ange as a manager, right? But it also exposes the system, right? Because when you look at the way that Pep Guardiola set up in that first half, right, it exposed the living crap out of us, right? And especially the guys, I implore you, to anyone who can watch the game on repeat, right? That Savio chance in the first half where he bounced, he like kicked the ball into the ground and it bounced over the goal, right? Watch Savio running from the halfway line into our box and nobody picks him up. Nobody picks him up. Udogi is in the opposition half. There is no way he makes up the ground, right? And none of our defenders or midfielders pick him up, right? Because all this team does when defending is just run back towards their own goal and praying that they kick the ball out. That's such an, like, I know we'll talk more about the tactics, right? But I just had to get that in, right? To follow on what you said, right?
Even the goal that they scored, Haaland was just stood there on his own.
Yeah.
There wasn't many there wasn't many challenges going in on him, or no one was covering him, or basically just stood there on his own and knocked it in. It's mystifying sometimes. It's mystifying because I don't know a lot about football, watched it enough, but surely the first thing you teach defenders is look, constantly look where players are coming from, pick them up, but there seems to be none of that. Honestly, none of it.
Boys, honestly, we did a show on Monday and sorry, I'm getting over the flu. I'm sitting with tissues and paracetamols, man. Freaking dosed up on tablets. I said on Monday's show, we went around the panel and we all asked each other, what do you think the score is going to be? And I said, if Haaland doesn't start, we're going to win by a goal. So 2-1 Spurs. If Haaland starts, and there's rumours he's going to start, we're going to lose 2-1 by one goal. And the reason I said that was because I don't feel this current Spurs team is going to handle Haaland. Mm-hmm. And I also felt that if they haven't got Haaland, they haven't got someone to put it in the back of the net. And if we do score, we'll win it. And it kind of played out that way. And what really, really, really fucking pissed me off was arguably our best player this season, definitely our best wing back against one of the best teams in the league. He drops him. He drops Spence when Udogie was at fault, partly at fault for the goal that we conceded against Ipswich. And he starts Poro, who we know isn't the best defender, up against Savinho, Mamouche, and Doku. And Savinho and Doku absolutely bent us over and injected us with all sorts. right? They took us to task. And I'm sitting there thinking, but anyone with a brain cell knows what's going to happen. Why aren't you starting Spence? And then I look at the front line.
Exactly what they said, right? Like,
Michael, anyone with a brain cell can see it.
like why does he need 45 minutes to understand that, right?
Because, and people don't like hearing it, he's a bang average manager. This manager is average. And average managers do the same average things that cost you. Do you know what this number is, guys? Can anyone tell me what this number is?
Amount of defeats.
Losses.
Yeah, that's the amount of losses.
Amount of losses.
Yeah.
14 losses in a
Yeah.
Premier League season.
Yeah.
This guy's a joke. And to kill it off, he puts the weakest, most timid front line. Odegaard, Tell, and Johnson. And I'm thinking, pussy, pussy, pussy. What chance have we got?
And another one here.
Right? For me, Odegaard is average. He's average. He's nothing special. He doesn't assist. He doesn't score. He had a chance again to score. And just like Newcastle away, he smashes it wide. He doesn't create enough. What does he do? What does Odegaard do that's so special? Johnson, other than scoring tap-ins, what does he bring to this club? Other than scoring tap-ins, what does he do? And as for Matthias Tell, let me tell you something, right? This is the biggest disgrace of all. This is the biggest disgrace. I put on the Tottenham Away YouTube page this week, another pussy, right? I put on the YouTube community page, Matthias Tell isn't all that. He is not a striker. I've got an eye for this. I've coached long enough. He's not a striker. His touch and the way he strikes the ball, he's not a striker. He's an inside forward. He's not a striker. And what we're doing? We're playing him as a striker. Today, again, he had a chance. He missed it. This guy is not a striker. And all the comments, he's not crap. Why are you writing him off? Why do you hate our youngsters? Stel, you're so negative. I'm like, did I say he's crap? Did I say I'm writing him off? I said he's not a striker. He's not a number 9. Every week I'm being proven right. And what pisses me off, what really fucking pisses me off, we signed him to play in the number 9 because Solanke and Richarlison are injured. You got Dane Scarlett, Will Lancashire, actual strikers, actual academy players that don't get nowhere near the amount of time that Matthias Tell has been given in the Premier League to see what they can do. Instead, yeah, Lancashire, you go on loan. And even today, when we made all the subs and we need a goal, the only striker on the bench, Scarlett, still doesn't come on. Listen, Ange is a joke.
Yeah.
I can't. And then all you're going to hear is, oh, but the second half was good, but we tried and we... No. Look at the decision-making, how bad it is. And as for that first goal, look, I'll repeat it again. We do not work on coaching defensive sides of the game nowhere near enough on the training pitch. I can see the shape. I can see the decision-making. I can see the movement of our players when we're under attack. And quite often, the goals we concede are abysmal defensive plays from Spurs. Most teams that are defensively drilled will probably stop these goals. How can one pass go through 8 players to Haaland?
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
That's the mad part about it. Like it was a P roller to the pen.
Oh, he's muted now.
Murray.
Yeah, I muted myself. Sorry.
No, you're sorry, not Murray. Michael. Sorry.
Can I finish my rant? And I'll say this in all seriousness.
Yeah, everyone take it in turn to rant. Everyone take it in turn.
Go for it, buddy.
But in all seriousness,
Did Enix, before you start, Mari, did Enix Wi-Fi get to you? Because I know you're in Florida.
yes, Joe Lewis, Tavistock.
Well, you know what? Yeah, Tavistock. Yeah.
Joe Lewis got to.
But in all seriousness, the reason why I call Ange a buffoon is just that every Spurs fan.
There we go. See,
Mari, you're frozen again. Michael, you carry on with your rant until Mari comes back.
Sorry, I was expecting Mari to talk for a longer.
Are you eating popcorn whilst you watch Mari?
No, No. Friendships, right? But yeah, just honest, like seriously, with what you said there, right? First, think about Tell, and I said it when we signed him, right? We have a 60 million pound or euros buy clause, right? Whatever. That's dependent on the player willing to stay, right? Why the fuck do we bring in a 60 million 19-year-old, right, to our club, where we know for certain, pretty much for certain, he's going back to Bayern, right? What's the point of bringing in a 19-year-old who you know is like not developed as a player yet, right? Why are we doing Bayern's job? It's their job to fucking develop them, right? It's their job. He's their player, right? Why are we doing the job for them? Because he's not staying here. He's going back to Bayern, right? What use do we have of that, right? Villa loaned Asensio, right? Imagine Asensio today in that team, right? Asensio can play wherever the fuck he wants in the attacking spaces, right? Because he's an experienced player who has won plenty of titles, right? And is actually quality. Whereas we have Tell, listen, he might be a great player in the future, right? But what's the point of bringing a guy like him where we can use our own, right? What you said, Stel. Like, what's the point of playing Tell if we can play Scarlet? What's the difference? What is the difference between
But
the
Michael,
two?
the thing is, Scarlett and Lancashire are actually number 9. They're actual strikers.
Yeah, that's even more, right? But even if you don't consider the position, even if you want to treat Tell as a striker, right, which the club clearly does because we play him as a striker, right? What's the point of playing him instead of one of our own? What's the point? He's not
I'll
staying
tell you.
here.
I'll tell you exactly why Tell is here, because Bayern's the lowest money.
But
for Harry Kane,
Mark,
it helps them. It's like we'll loan them off you for 10 million, and you ain't got to pay us for Harry Kane for.
Yeah, but
6 months,
what's
whatever.
like? What business do we have in that? Like,
No,
why? Like,
nothing. Nothing.
There is no positive for us in
No,
that deal,
no,
right?
no.
We'll develop him for 4 months and send him back, and they will owe us 10 million less for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
What's the business for us in that, right? Why? Why is he here? Why aren't we playing Scarlett or Lancashire?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Scarlett or Lancashire are good enough, right?
Is Troy
Because-
Parrott still lurking about?
But Troy Parrott is in AZ
He
Alkmaar.
plays for AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, we sold him.
We sold him.
Summer,
Okay.
yeah. But that's the first thing, right? The second thing about the defending, right? The goal that we conceded. How the hell is a ball going through our penalty box, through at least five players, and
Michael,
none
shocking.
of them jumps to the ball and just twats it out? Just kick it out to the corner, to the sideline, to the middle of the pitch. Just twat it out, right? And Haaland just runs into the box between two of our players. None of them pick him up. None of them see that he's running between them, right? And he just taps the ball in. Right? What are we doing with the defensive, defensive side of the game? They are not coached. Stelios, you are 100% right. And the Savio chance that I told you about, right? Where they should have scored and it should have been 2-0, right? Why is nobody picking Savio? He's running through from his own half to our penalty box. And we have 4 or 5 players around him, right? Doku is the only one on the left wing. You don't need 5 players to cover Doku, right? And he just puts a ball across the penalty box, right? And it's only because Savio missed the target that we weren't 2-0 down at that point, right? Let's not mention all the Haaland chances in the first half, right? We were shocking in the first half. And that's sorry, because Stel, you told about ranting, so I have to rant about the tactics, right? I have to rant about the tactics.
Mate, rant as much as you want.
because we defeated City twice this season, right?
By the way, good evening to Ian.
Good evening, Ian. I'm in the middle of a monologue, right? So
Archie Gray's dad, granddad, cousin, family, they've all arrived. They're all here now.
Yeah, listen. We defeated City twice this season, right? And in both matches, we allowed them to have the ball, right? No, sorry, they forced us to be back, right? And they took control of the ball. They forced us back. We caught them on the counter and won both games, right? One of them 2-1, which was unconvincing, and the other one 4-0, right? When they were in their down period or whatever, right? Ange today thought the same thing will happen for the third time. Ange today expected City to take the ball off us, pin us back, and at least that's what I think he did, right? And that's partially why I think he chose the front line that he chose, right? 3 young, pacey players to catch City on the break, right? What did City do? City played a mid-block, right? Where there was no space to run in behind. There was no space to lob the ball over them. They didn't take the ball off us. They didn't control the game like they normally do. They allowed us to play, and we had no idea on how to break them down. We had no idea how to break them down. We had 2 shots in the first half? I think it ended with 4 shots in the first half, right? None of them any good chances in the first half. We just didn't create anything in the first half, right?
Michael, I've
And
got the stats here.
Yeah.
The first half, we had 2 shots. They had 7.
2 shots. Yeah.
We had 2 on target. They had 4. Passes were equal. We had 0 clear-cut chances. They had 3.
Exactly, right? Exactly. They caught us on the counter. They ripped us apart on the wings, right? They allowed us to have the ball because being 50-50 possession-wise with City is City allowing you to have the ball, right? Because normally they have 65%, right? Pep saw those 2 games that he lost. He adapted. He changed the way they play. He completely threw Ange off the track, right? Ange didn't know what to do in the first half. Fair enough to him, by the way. In the second half, he changed things, right? But it was too late. And it should have been way too late because we should have been more than 1-0 down, right? In the first half. It's just sad watching it, right? Because I can see it. I bet you guys saw the same thing, right? You saw City in the mid block. You saw that we had no space to run in behind, and we just kept trying. We kept trying to lob the ball over the defense, and it was either Ederson caught it or the defenders dealt with our wingers. Because as Stelios have said, right, we chose a pussy front line today, right? All 3 of our players, with all due respect to them, right? Because I know they are athletes, and if I fought them 1v1, they would kick my ass, right? Because they are athletes, they are way more physically trained than I am, right? But I can still call them pussies because it's the internet, right? We just had no idea how to deal with them. In the second half, it changed, right? But we will talk about the second half later. Rant over. Thank you guys for the patience.
You're welcome. Well done. Ian, just so to bring you up to speed, we spoke about the starting lineup. We all can't believe Spence didn't start. We spoke about how we felt the front 3 were very weak, timid. I said that Odegaard's overrated. Johnson, what does he do if he isn't scoring tap-ins? And I double down on this, Ian. I double down. Matthias Tell is not a striker. I've been saying it for quite a while now, and I'm really pissed off with this one because, we got 2 strikers in the club, Will Lancashire and Scarlett. We've sent one on loan, and we kept one at the club. And we loaned a striker who isn't a striker, who doesn't score goals for us. And everyone played in the number 9 tonight, except for the only number 9 in the club, Scarlett, who stayed on the bench. Ian, listen, tonight we're saying that Ange's just a buffoon. It doesn't make sense, some of the decisions he makes. And defensively, we just look a mess. What did you see tonight? What's your take on it? Let's bring Dan in as well. Big up, Dan. Hope you're doing well, brother.
Right, evening all. I thought I was deflated when I heard that team come out. I was funny enough. I was listening to Salah going up to the grounds, and the look on his face, and Iggy said, "Oh God," when the team came out, and it was just, why drop Spence? He's been our best player for several weeks.
Big up, Matt.
And you saw the way Doku took Porro apart first half. Secondly, the midfield actually tonight. First half was poor. It was really poor. I felt when I saw the team sheet, I thought the midfield was a little bit lightweight. I thought you needed a Basuma or a Sarr in there for tonight. And up front, listen, I've seen this fourth game. I think we've seen Tell play, and he's. I've said this on a few podcasts since the beginning of this month. I don't know why we brought Tell in. For me, there was no point. I don't know where he plays, what his position is, and you've got Scarlett. You know, Scarlett's come on. He's had 2 small cameos. He's created 2 goals, and he is better than Tell. I'm not saying he's the answer, but he is better than Tell. And on the subs bench, to put Werner on instead of Mikey on the bench instead of Mikey Moore, for me, it's absolute madness. You got a super kid who's, you know, give him a few minutes. What's the point of putting Werner on the bench? Just a complete waste of time. Then someone said to me, I mean, I was reading things on the text. The league's done and dusted, waste of time. Got to make sure that the players aren't injured because next Thursday's the only important match, which does have relevance. But it would have been nice to have actually gone out today with 8 days till next week's match to go out with our best team. Again, it's another mess up by the manager. Just don't get it.
Ian, the issue I've got with that is game time and minutes on the pitch prepares you and keeps you physically and mentally focused in the game so that when you have a European game or a cup game, you're ready. If you're rested, then when that game comes, you're not quite in that zone. So I get resting players, but then if you just let the league fall apart, then that will affect confidence. That will affect momentum. You know, we saw how our poor league form effectively cost us in the cups. And you got to go into every game saying we got to win. No matter what, we got to win because that breeds mentality, it breeds culture, it breeds momentum, it breeds a focus, it breeds a togetherness. Shit like tonight, if you're Spence, you're thinking, what, as soon as Udogie and Porro fit, I'm dropped. If you're Dane Scarlett, you're thinking, why did you bring me back from loan? What the fuck have I been brought back here? You played everyone in the 9 except for the only number 9 at the club, and you needed a goal. I don't get it. I just don't get what Ange did tonight. It didn't make sense. But
it didn't.
I'm gonna jump off. But I'm just gonna say that Ange did not want to win this game tonight. When you looked at the lineup, you knew he did not want to win this game tonight. Everything from the back line in regards to Spence to that front line, and just having just buffoonery, just literally buffoon. I mean, we have a buffoon as a manager, and I am like Ange completely out. Like I was Ange out before, and I'm doubling down after tonight. I mean, he did a horrible job, in my opinion. So this is what it is. We move on. We're playing Bournemouth next. So I'm out, Ange out, Enoch out, Levy out, Tavstock out.
the whole world out. Big up to Mari as always.
Big up, Mari.
Love yourself, bro. We've got a member, 22 months, Tony Rodriguez, the legend that is Tony. Big up to you. Marlon, Super Chat, Tell signing is pure Levy desperation for Champions League via EL. And LMI says this team under another manager would be top 4. Would definitely be knocking on the door, but
yeah,
Dan,
6th, 7th, maybe
6th, 7th, yeah. With the injuries, fully fit, probably top 4. But Dan, what did you see tonight? What did you make of it?
This manager is mentally inadequate. Simple as that. When it comes to, I don't know what he's like in personal life. Do you know what? I don't care. But when it comes to the football side of things, he's thick. And that is the only way to put it. He is thick as shit. He hasn't got a fucking clue. The tactics that he was gotten to use, it just weren't working. And it took him 45 minutes to see that their wingers were just doing us and doing us and doing us. Like what you said after. No Vaseline. Just totally, they are walking off that pitch like John Wayne. they got abused, and he was seeing that. How the hell did he drop Spence? Now, a few of us said this before. We just knew he was going to drop Spence for a Doji, but there was that, surely he's not going to. Surely the man isn't that inadequate. He is absolutely, he hasn't got a clue. Now, I've been saying that, you know what, the league is done and dusted. We shouldn't really worry about the league that much, yeah? Save our players for the Europa because it's the only thing we got a chance in. But that's like if you've got the Europa 3 games later. So hold back some of your better players, use it for the Europa when you've got like a 3-game gap. How long's our space now till the Europa game?
8 days.
8 days.
8 days. Right. So he should at least be putting in a solid team to win in this sort of game, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's, say, 3 games before the Europa, I totally get it if he puts an adequate team out to play as such. How did he drop Spence? I just can't get my head around it. He has been our best player for 2 months. And then the minute Udoji, who didn't even look fully fit to me today, he's got him straight back on the pitch. Porro has been doing absolutely shocking. Okay, bring Udoji back on. Spence, go on the right. Give Porro that time off he might need. What is wrong with this fella? Up front, let's just say it wasn't intimidating, was it? And now people are also starting to see what was the point on bringing Tell in. Really, what was the point of it? Just another 19-year-old with no experience who could become great, just like Archie Gray and Bergvall and Oderbert and the other kids we lead who could become very good. We need something to help us save a season or to at least, I say at least, win that Europa League because that's the only thing we can do now to save that season. And we go and get in another 19-year-old with lack of experience. What is going on?
Shocking, mate.
Seriously. What is actually going on in this fella's head? When we've actually got strikers of the same age, if not one's older, I think, that we can actually play as a bloody striker now. Nope. We go and get a 10 million loan off Bayern Munich with Tell, who's not even actually a striker.
Yeah.
What is he up to? What is going on here?
Yeah,
For me, it's the main thing. How he dropped Spence, I don't know.
No. Well, I've said for ages, like Jed Spence is our only natural fullback. The other 2 are wing backs. They're wing backs. It's different.
Spence can do both. That's the advantage with him. He can actually play as a right back, left back, and a wing back.
Yes, but his natural position is a fullback, whereas Porro and Udogi were brought in for Conte, who used them as wing backs. You know, and both of them as fullbacks. They're not it. I mean, if they are going to keep this manager, which I bloody hope they don't, like you want them to replace them with proper fullbacks, not wing backs that disappear up the other end of the pitch and leave us wide open at the back. You know, you need proper fullbacks. You need square pegs for square holes.
That's what I'm
trying to say.
The thing is, Mark, if you look at the last game, Spence had a really good game and he scored.
Yeah.
So you drop him, right?
Yes.
Bergvall had a quite decent game against Ipswich. You rightly start him again.
Yeah.
Son, who's been shit all season, had a really good game against Ipswich. He was terrorising their defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We drop him.
Yeah.
You're thinking, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
What are we thinking here? And if there's one thing Son does, he tends to have good games against Man City.
Yeah.
Matt, let me bring you in, Matt. What did you make of that, Matt?
an abomination. I don't understand why he makes decisions that are going to be such of a risk against reward. You know, why would you not start Spence? Play Spence for an hour and take him off. Adoji's been out with a hamstring injury since December the 6th or 7th, I believe. Why would you start Adoji in a game where their major assets, their major strengths are out wide? And if you are going to play Adoji and Porro, make sure that the players playing in front of them protect them.
Yeah.
We were leaving them exposed time in that first half, time after time after time. Doku was getting the ball. He was sometimes miscontrolling it, still not under no pressure. He was getting a 5-10 yard run before he got anywhere near a challenge. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And there was nobody on the pitch addressing it. Forget the manager. Why aren't the players on the pitch looking at that and saying, we are getting absolutely ripped? Why isn't Maddison? Why isn't some of the experienced players? Why isn't Bentancur saying to the Odebert, I don't need you to gamble. We're under the pump here. That first 15, 20 minutes, it could have been 3-0. It should have been 3-0.
Yeah.
But they just kept playing. They just kept playing, play. Porro's trying to play nutmegs in his own box. Danso's trying to play nutmegs in his own box. It's absolutely suicide football. I don't understand when the penny is going to drop. When is somebody going to take this game by the scruff of the neck and say, we are not going to play this way? I'd rather go in that dressing room and have a bust up with the manager. I just don't understand what we're trying to do. I don't understand what Tottenham are trying to do. He's trying to bring this formula from Celtic where he had the highest wage bill, he had the best players, so he could allow 1v1s. He could gamble in games because 9 times out of 10, he had the best players. He's coming to this league and he doesn't have the best players, and he's playing this you shoot, we shoot. I just don't understand. He must have some sort of a guarantee by Levy that he's going into next season. He must. You cannot be that kamikaze as a manager, surely.
Matt, he was doing it in Scotland with Celtic. Yes, he was. Why? Because the Scottish Premier League is one of the shittest leagues on the planet. It might sound offensive, but facts are facts. For me, when you're rated below the bloody USA League, for God's sake, MLS, MSL, whatever it's called, yeah, your league is crap. And it is crap. They have one decent team in there who is light years ahead of everybody else. And
You've got to remember,
you can go and do that. You go into, I've said this over and over again, stick him in any league, stick him in Serie A, stick him in La Liga, stick him in Bundesliga, stick him in Premier League, which he's already in, yeah? Give him the best team on this fucking planet. He still won't win it. He might get top four, but he still won't win it because you can't play that way.
No, in
a good league.
And you got to remember as well, in Scotland, Celtic spend 60% of the money.
Yeah, but that's what Matt said, right?
Yeah. They spend 60% of the money.
Celtic, right?
It's not even close. It's not even close to how much Celtic.
Yeah.
You know, the other 40% of the 60 that Celtic don't spend, that's everybody else in Scotland. That's not Rangers. That's everybody else.
Yeah, the equivalent, right? Sorry, he's at Spurs, right? The equivalent of Spurs in the Scottish League, right? When you look at, like, I'm not saying that, same size, whatever. I'm just saying, like, when you look from the spending point of view and, the quality of players, right? It's as if he was at Hibernian or Motherwell, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the comparison, right? With all due respect to our club, but we aren't City, Chelsea, or Arsenal, right? At this point, I just don't understand how can you be so close-minded, right? And by the way, because I'm reading the chat, right, where you guys were talking, right? I would seriously, I would seriously try to like convince you guys in the chat, right, to not just give up on some of those players under this manager, right? Because I think this manager is making some of those players look way worse than they actually are, right? Because I see plenty of comments about Udogi being shit, Poro being shit, this guy being shit, that guy being shit, right? I don't think those are bad players. I think if you utilize them to their strengths, they are good players, right? Same thing with Madison, who's taking a lot of shit from everyone, right? Poro, Udogi, and other guys, right? They are good players. They actually know what they are doing. I think we have a good team, but this manager is exposing the living fuck out of them, right? This system and this manager is just exposing those players to all their weaknesses and putting them in situations where I don't think any players could come out on top, right? And one of the commenters made a brilliant comment, right? Look at Bayer Leverkusen, right, as a comparison, and Frimpong and Grimaldo, who play wing backs for them, right? But they play wing backs. They don't have much defensive work because they have a solid back three behind them, and they have a defensive midfielder, right, that do the defensive job. And Grimaldo and Frimpong last season had like 15 goals, 15 assists each, right, playing as wing backs. But if you put them in a back four system, they're going to be shit in that system because that's not their job to be a fullback. And I think the same thing is happening with our fullbacks. Sorry, wing backs that play fullbacks, right?
Michael, you see, Arnie Slot, right? I wanted him a couple of years ago. I've re-put the video on the YouTube to remind everyone that this, I really wanted Arnie Slot 2 years ago. The reason I wanted him, and if you watch the video, it's literally everything I said. This guy, he adapts his systems. He constantly adapts his systems. And if you were to say, right, what kind of football did Liverpool play under Jurgen Klopp? You'd say Gengham press, aggressive, high up the pitch, squeeze you, suffocate you, the ball up high, quickly get to the goal, score. And they had 3 or 4 absolute killers in their team to put the ball away. And they had Henderson, workhorse in midfield to keep the machine running. You'd say that's how they played. And some people call it rock and roll football. If you were to say, how does Liverpool play now? There's no way. Some games they're high press, some games they're low and counter-attack, like they did against Man City at the Etihad. Other games it's attack, drop. Sometimes it's just possession-based. Sometimes it's a fluid transition. They don't have a style. He constantly adapts to the type of game he thinks he's going to be in. He's going to destroy the league this year. Arnie Slot, mark my words, by the end of this season, he's going to win it by 20 points. And he's going to destroy everyone in his first season. And I don't think he's got the best team. I think what he's done is he's tactically outdone everyone. That's why I think he's got a good squad. And he's and do you know one other thing he's done brilliantly that no one talks about? He's really cleverly rotated that midfield and juggled the team so he hasn't run them into the ground. There's a reason Liverpool haven't got shitloads of injuries this year. He hasn't killed them. He's balanced it well. Listen, Arnie Slot is a cool, calm, intelligent manager. He did it at Feyenoord and he's doing it now in the Premier League. I look at Ange and it's literally, it's this way, only this way, regardless of transfers, regardless of what league I'm in, regardless of what players I've got, and this is how it's going to be. And I just think, fucking hell, how many games we've got to lose? We've still got to go away to Stamford Bridge. Guys, we're going to lose about 18 games this season. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Easily, if not more, for God's sake. It's down to the same point again of what I keep on repeating myself on. You go and get those players playing in their right positions, in right sync to what they are actually good at. You can make an average team actually look very, very good. You go and get a very good team, a world-class bunch of players, but you play them all totally out of position or to the wrong style, they will look bang average at their very best. And Liverpool are no bang average team. I know that. But again, they haven't got the biggest team out there. They got some very, very good players.
And they signed nobody. They made no signings.
That's what I mean. They've got the biggest
team. He's been injured most of the season.
But he's got everybody playing the way they play best. Yeah. And he's used the rotation in the games when he needs to use it. Like we said, no, you don't have to change your whole system. But when you know you've got someone like Salah coming down at you on the side, anyone with half a brain says, yeah, double up on him. Double up. It might help. Just a little bit. It might help. No, not Ange. Ange tells his fucking left back to get inverted into the middle and leaves him there on his own. That's just an example. And you see that happen enough times today on both sides.
Yeah.
This manager is inadequate. He has not got a clue. There's a few other words I'd use about him, but I'll keep them off.
What you've just said, though, Dan, what you've just said, though, that is what a good manager does. He adapts to what he's got. He gets the best out of the tools that he's got available for that game.
You play with the cards you got.
Well, exactly.
You can only bluff it so many times.
Well, yeah.
Playing poker is your prime example. Yeah, you can bluff it here, there, and everywhere. As soon as someone starts catching on to you, unless you start playing the game properly, you get wiped off the floor straight away. You can only bluff so much.
Let me ask you guys a question, okay? Oh, by the way, Fifth Elemento, the super chat, I forgot. New message from Pep. Hey, Angie. Angie, thanks for the win. That was a close one. You're the best. See you at the pub. First round on me, Pep. Good bit of banter there. When we played City in the Carabao Cup, we were quite defensive that game.
Mm-hmm.
And we scored on 2 blistering counter-attacks where we just opened them up at the back. When we played City at the Etihad, we were more low block. We weren't playing it tiki-taka at the back. It was more long balls, long and wide. And we scored 3 goals on the transition. So again, it was a bit more pragmatic counter-attack. Why is it today we didn't do that? Why is it today we thought, nah, we don't need to do that? Why did he change it when he actually had a proven winning formula against Man City?
Stel, I've answered this already. It's not him, it's Pep. Pep changed it. Pep played different than he normally does. That's why I said I think Pep outdid him tactically today.
Yeah, but Michael, we were still trying to play it out from the back a lot of the game, right?
Yeah, and they didn't press us. Watch the first half. They didn't press us when we were playing out of the back, not like they normally do. They sat in a mid block and squeezed the space behind them. We tried long balls today. There was just no space to run into.
Because I don't think like when our wide players got on the ball, Odebert first half refused to take on anybody.
Exactly.
Johnson useless, absolutely visible, right? So we didn't even try to play the transition game because the wide players weren't even driving with the ball. The only player on that pitch today for me that actually drove on the ball, properly drove with the ball, was Bergvall.
Yeah.
He's the only one who genuinely tried to drive with that ball on the pitch today. I just don't understand why we didn't encourage. Second half, look what happened. He got Johnson and the other wide player to drop deeper. So when Doku or Savina got on the ball, we had 2 against 1. So he doubled up the wing backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
He nullified them. Mate, you couldn't see that after 15 minutes.
I said everything. I said
no, Michael, I agree with you. Right? And then why is it as soon as Spence comes on, suddenly we're quite good going down the wing, or suddenly 1-2 Spence is like we came out with more aggression on the flanks. We were more aggressive on the flanks in the second half. Why didn't we play like that in the first half? Because we were more aggressive down the channels when we played City the first 2 times we played them. I don't get it. I get you always saying. Okay, go on, Dan.
It was probably one of the players that suggested it to him. I doubt it was him. I honestly doubt it was him. Like, hey, Gaff, do you think maybe we should try this? Like, sort of hold him back from him as well in case they get a slap or something. And we have looked at our best. In every game, we have actually looked good, bar maybe 1 or 2 where we've had a good result. How have we looked best? Counter-attacking direct football with not using inverted wing-back bullshit that this man can't get out of his thick head. And that is when we have looked good. How many times has he had games where it's taken us to go 3-0 down before he thinks, yeah, maybe I better change something? He ain't got it. He simply has not got it.
Yeah, I don't think he's got it.
Those games where we've played the counter attack as well, when a few of us have sat here, me included, and said, "Yeah, do you know what? Maybe he's got the right idea now. Maybe he's catching on to the idea." No, he's not. That's just us being hopeful. I reckon most of those games that we played like that was because the other team forced us to play like that.
I was just
And the
about to say
players
that.
had no
I was just
other
about to say
option
that. Yeah.
but to play like that, because
Yeah,
that can
Dan.
happen in a game as well. A team can force you to play a certain way.
Dan.
Go on.
Yeah, but
It was City twice and Villa.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
yeah, but the thing is
Yeah,
for me, right? The thing is for me, right? When I was watching today's game, is I think we actually tried to draw them in. When you watch the first half, we were playing around the back between Danso, Gray, Vicario, and the wing backs, right? And in 2 previous games, they pressed us aggressively, usually took the ball off us and took control of the game, right? Watch City play today. I think they deliberately let us play the ball and have the ball, right? Because if you look, Stel put the first half stats today, right? And it was 50-50 possession, right? And passes similar and all that stuff, right? I think Pep saw those 2 games that we played against them where we caught them on the counter twice because they were pressing us so high and, they were trying to suffocate us. We play out of the back and catch them on the counter and catch them on a transition, right? I think City nullified the chance of us playing that way. That's how I look at it, right? I think he tried to do the same because when you watch us play, we tried long balls over the top, right? The issue was they weren't parked on the halfway line like City usually are. They were much deeper, right? They were playing close to their box. So whenever we tried to lob the ball over them, there was no place to run in behind, and Ederson was sweeping the balls up, right? I actually think that it wasn't necessarily like us changing that much. I think it was more Pep completely changed the way they play, and I think Ange expected Pep to play like that again, right? And Pep did it.
Michael, do you know what else though? Michael, do you know what else?
To us, right?
Do you know what else as well? Our midfielders, when we did play the through balls or the balls over the top, they were poor. Our forward passes today in the final third were poor. From Bentancur, from Madison. Madison probably was the best of the lot, but even he wasn't on it. But nobody was playing good forward balls at all in that entire midfield.
The through balls were bad, right? But I also think City were way deeper than they normally are, right? And for
you're right. They were deeper. They were
deeper than they normally are, right? So they actually adapted to us, right? Because I feel like today with the way we approached that game, right? We tried, as I said, playing out of the back. I think if they pressed us aggressively, which they could, like, come on, Savio, Doku, Marmoush, Haaland, they can press you, right? They can press the living fuck out of you, right? But they didn't. They sat back. Like, look at Haaland. Haaland was standing between Gray and Danso, not moving to them, right? Same thing with Doku, Tuporo, and sometimes they tried to press our fullbacks. But whenever we got out of there was no space to play the through balls, and we don't have enough creativity and as you said, we don't have enough like players that can drive with the ball, that can actually break that system that they had. We just were passing this around them like we always do, the walk shape, right? Or the horseshoe shape.
Yeah, the horseshoe.
We had no idea how to punch through them. And whenever they took the ball off us, quick transition and dangerous chance, right? The goal came from that. The Savio chance that I mentioned came from that, and like 2 other chances that Haaland didn't.
They had too much. They had too much space in midfield in the first half.
Yeah,
way too much space in midfield. Do you know? I want to talk about 2 things actually that are, believe it or not, positive from the loss. Ian's going to absolutely love me now. The first one is, I actually think Danzo looks like a good loan deal. I think for a loan deal, I think Danzo makes perfect sense to me. In fact, he's the only signing that we made in January where I actually see the sense in it. Experience, strong, suits the Premier League, wins headers, strong in his tackles. I actually thought he had a very good game today, Danzo. I thought he had a very good game.
Yeah.
The other one, I've got to say it, Archie Gray tonight. Listen, do you know what really impressed me with him? The ball would come to him, he'd be shut down, he'd wait calmly, not panic, and as soon as the player closed him down, he calmly just shifted the ball to the side and then drove forward. No skill, right? No amazing technique, just calm intelligence. Go on in, come, see you later. And the amount of times he did it, and I did a watch long on Big Up, and I was saying, do you know what? Gray's he's so composed, just shifting the ball wide and then driving forward into the space. You know, he's a calm head for a young lad. He's a very calm head. Ian, I'll let you talk on this one because I know you can't wait.
No, listen, I thought Graham Bergvall both tonight. I thought played well. I think there was one situation you mentioned about the calmness, where Haaland closed him down. He just dropped his shoulder and went round him like he wasn't there. Yeah. And these are skills that you need in midfield. That's what we're lacking. We're badly lacking that. Now, whether he's a 6 or an 8, who knows? But you know, listen, that was the plus. Who else? I thought Spence played well when he came on.
Danzo.
Yeah, Danzo looked he dived in, and he dived in when he shouldn't have dived in, and the ball finished up in the back of our net for the only goal. Although obviously there was a lot of play between him diving in just inside their half and the ball being put in by Haaland. But apart from that, I thought Danzo was excellent tonight. No, for me, Spence should be the right back. I thought Udogie, okay. I was surprised it was him that drove forward second half, wasn't it? And he put the ball in for Tell instead of having a shot. I'd have just hit it because he was in a really good position driving into the area. There were a few positives second half. It was a shame the ball came off Son's back as Saul was coming in full pelt. If it hadn't been a deflection, I think he probably would have scored that.
Would the ball have got to Sarr if it didn't bounce off of Son though?
I said, well, maybe not.
I actually think it would be a better ball for Sarr if it didn't bounce, because I think the trajectory of the ball was about to land on Sarr's foot or like close to his legs, and when it bounced off of Son, I think as Ian has said, he was too fast moving forward, right? So he couldn't really get his head through the ball and actually hit it. It more just bounced off his head, right? And I think if it hit his leg, he could just shape his leg and just tap it in, right? Whereas with the head, you can't really, you in that much speed, you can't just direct the ball well. I mean, if you are a world-class striker, you probably can, right? But Sarr is a midfielder, right?
Yeah,
so.
I think the second half, we looked a lot better than the first half, and it was quite telling. A friend of mine came with me who's a QPR fan. Thought the ground was fantastic, and we're watching the game, and he said, "Do you know what the difference is? They look coached, and Spurs players a lot of the time don't know what they're doing."
Yeah.
And this is from a QPR fan coming and watching Spurs for the first time this season.
It's the other thing is watching Ange on the halfway line. Is watching Ange on the side, which is really, really starting to piss me off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now and again, you see him do something like give a shout or something, but that's usually to the fella behind him. Football's meant to be a game. You get into it. You're the manager. Start telling someone what to do if they ain't doing it right. He stands there with his fucking hands in his pockets like that, just looking at him.
But I think
doing nothing. No,
did you see Pat?
He stands there. He looks like there's fucking higher testerone levels in Harry fucking Potter than there is in the way he stands there.
Dan, this hasn't changed, has it?
Mate, he's useless.
It's
don't even bring him up. He don't even get into the game.
Yeah, it's a shame because the team are. I mean, where are we now? We're 13th in the table, and if West Ham win tomorrow, we go 14th.
We're currently okay. We're not in that. I need to move it up.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the table here. We're 13th, but for me, the most important thing.
We're 10 points off a European space in the league. So I don't think with 11 games, I don't think we're going to do it. There's too many teams above us that have to fall.
No, but the other thing also, still, look at the away games. In London, we've got Chelsea, Fulham and West Ham. And away from home, we've got Liverpool, Villa and Wolves. So how many points are we going to get from those six
Ian,
away
like I
games?
said, I think Spurs are going to lose 18 games this season.
Oh, yes, I would think
At least.
No, probably they'll probably lose 4 of those. They'll probably get something at West Ham and something at Wolves, and probably lose the other 4. And the games at home, I can see us going through the last 5 games unbeaten. We got Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth won't be easy, but Bournemouth, Southampton,
Bournemouth are currently 7th. They are 4 points off the Champions League. They are in Europe as it stands. But do you know what? The thing is, Champions League, if you look at it, from Aston Villa upwards, there's only 5 points that separates 6 teams for the 4th place.
Yeah.
And Nottingham Forest only 1 point. From Forest down to Villa, anyone can get top 4.
Well, fifth will get Champions League this year.
It should do, yes.
Because of the coefficient thing.
It's almost done, the coefficient.
Yeah.
So, anyone in that top 10 can get it. Anybody.
What a waste this season has been, do you think, with this manager? Just a terrible waste.
Yeah.
I think the transfer policies killed us as well, man. Signing 4 kids, right? Signing 4 kids and 1 experienced player in the summer, and then we get to January. Mateus Tell's not a striker. Danzo, I'm all for it. Kinski, did we really need him when we had Brandon Austin?
That was a waste.
Match against Newcastle. Next game, he's replaced.
I know. No, listen, Austin's had 2 good games for the team. I don't understand why they bought Kinski. I don't understand why they bought Tellin. Just pointless, to be honest. There's no clarity. There's no strategy regarding the transfer. I think you look at the transfers in the summer. You had 4 kids. You should have had 4 established players come in, not 1.
It's killed us.
That's right. That's what killed us. You got rid of 4 established players from last year in Højbjerg, Emerson, Lo Celso, and Skip, and you brought one in. And they had the money to buy the other players, because he was chasing Neto, and Chelsea beat us to Neto. He was chasing Gallagher all summer. The money was there.
Never going to happen.
That's right, Dan. It was never going to happen, and they told Ange, I understand, and he didn't listen. He was hell bent on getting Gallagher, but that proves the money was there to buy the players. So why didn't they? There's no strategy with the transfer. There's just nothing. We ended up with 23 players instead of 25 in the Europa League squad. There's just been no thought. I mean, it's been dreadful.
And he left Spence out and put a goalkeeper in there, and then has the audacity to turn out to everyone and say, I knew. Spence just needed some time. You tried fucking selling him at the start of the season and couldn't get him out. You didn't even put him in the Europa team, for God's sake. Not that any of us thought he was great. We didn't even know it because we ain't seen him play. But why go and put an extra goalkeeper in there when you could put Spence in there, who can cover left and right, and he's English as well? This manager, he's dry lunch. I mean, even down to the way he does his press conferences. He's dry lunch completely. You get more common sense and more emotion and more testosterone out of a fucking bit of cardboard.
I'm not being funny. The time we want Levy to be Levy and actually sack this guy, he won't do it. Like, there's been so many managers here that have been gone for a lot less. A lot less. You know what I mean? Back years ago, if you didn't get top 4, you're out the road. You know what I mean? Or at least 5th.
He must have assurances, Mark. He must have assurances.
Who knows?
I've got a theory.
That's what I said.
Still, I've got a theory. If he gets rid of Ange, who brought Ange in?
Munn.
Exactly. So surely, if Ange goes, Munn has got to go. Surely.
But, so the thing about Munn, right, and I said this when we brought him in. If you
What's
look at
he
his
done?
background, see, if you look at Munn's background, he built up the women's game in the regions of the world he worked.
Mhm.
I think he's come in to build up the women's game at our club. They're now building an academy or first team training facility for the women at Whitewebs, for the ladies, ladies football. Look, eventually the women's game is going to be massive. At some point, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to become a lucrative sport. And I think Munn has come in to start scaling that up. I think that's what he's here for. And part of his job is also to think about the men's game, and he's brought Anjin.
But still, the most important decision that anybody can make in any football club is bringing in the right manager. He is so unqualified to do that. What is Levy doing bringing him in to make a decision that important?
Yeah, but some people say it's because it's cheap wages. You know, if you get it wrong with Ange and you sack him, it'll cost you less than paying off Conte for 1 year. You know, some people say,
well, it's
he's a
12
yes
million
man.
at the moment. Still, if he gets rid of Ange, it's 12 million. That's not peanuts.
Yeah, but Conte was 15 million for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, look at Ange's season, his behaviour, right? He's been very, very corporate. You know, blame me, don't blame the board.
Yeah.
It's on me, don't blame the players. I'm to blame. I'm happy with the transfer window. I think we've got a really good squad. There's no transfers coming for 3 weeks in January, 4 weeks in January. And what's Ange saying? They're working really hard to bring in the players. He has towed the line. Name me another manager that's going to toe the line like that.
I've never seen a manager toe the line like that. Not a Spurs, anyway. I've
That's
never
why he's got
ever
the
seen
job.
a manager take it so roughly, like he
That's
does.
why he's got the job.
Quite happily. Yeah, but
I
I actually
think
think he believes some of it. I think he is that inept as a manager that where he has not been in a top league, he thinks everything's going right as such in what he's being told and that, and just taking it all in. I think he believes more than half of it. This is where I've said to you before. Is he actually just reading out the book and saying what he's being told to say?
Of course he is.
Or is he no, hang on a sec. Or is he just genuinely believing it? So he's not exactly lying. Is he actually believing it? Or is he just reading it out the book? I don't know. I don't know with this fella. I really don't. Sometimes a lot of the time, I actually believe that he believes on what he's saying. That he believes that this is the way it's done. That he believes that Levy and that are fully behind him and giving him everything he wants. And these are the players that he can win something with. And the Premier League is just another league that he's going to win another cup out of. I genuinely do believe that he actually believes most of that. So some of the stuff he has said, he has not had to say, and that is not book material, some of what he has said. Some of it, yes, it sounds like it comes from a book. And then the amount of other crap he's put with it as well. Talk about shoot yourself in the back of the head, let alone the feet.
But Dan, it's not only that. Take the transfer window just in January. Let's talk about January because they could have put right a lot of the wrongs from the summer. By the time players came in, we've lost to Newcastle, Arsenal, Everton, and Leicester. Now, for me, there was a point to be had against Newcastle, maybe not at Arsenal. We should have got 6 from Everton and Leicester. So those 7 points now would put us on 40, which is 6 behind Chelsea, which is a Champions League place. So 6 points is a lot. Is a lot less than 13. 13 can forget, it's gone. But with 6 points, there's a bit of momentum with the team right the way through January. They're winning a couple more games, and
Ian.
And
who did we win against?
Who did we win against? What in what respects?
Well, come on. What games have we won?
No,
we're going and banging up probably one of the worst Man United team I've ever seen.
But
Ipswich.
Ian was talking about the January window, right? If we brought in players earlier and talking if we had
sorry,
those
I
players.
misunderstood you. My bad.
Yeah. Why have they not? Thanks, Mike. Why have they not got players lined up ready to go 1st, 2nd of January? Why leave it? Why Dan? So yes, fine. They should have from what I was told, if they'd have paid an extra 5 million, they'd have got Danso at the start of the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kinski wasted time. Tell wasted time. Shouldn't be buying a 19-year-old kid. You know, if you're short, if you're looking at it, you're thinking to yourself, Ange doesn't rate Langsher this season. Wants him to go out on loan, so he sent him out to West Brom. Scarlett's coming back. He obviously didn't rate Scarlett because he sent him on loan in the first place. Solanke's injured. Richarlison's injured. We need a striker. Go and spend some money and go and get a striker. Don't have to be mad money, but get somebody who's going to come and score 10 goals between January and May. 10, maybe 12, maybe 15 if you're lucky. But why go and get a 19-year-old kid when you've lost those 4 league games? I mean, January for us in the league was just a disaster. So the whole thing in terms of what are the club doing? If Spurs are without European football next season, then it may well be that January has cost them big time.
Yeah, but Matt, with what you said, right? Tell is on 100k a week, right? And we are paying his wages. So it's not necessarily the lowest wage out there, right? Asensio, who Villa got, is on 115k a week, right?
Yes.
Like this is the point. And by the way, to piggyback off your point, Ian, right, about the games, right? If you watch this season, right, watch the games that we lost this season, right? Let me tell you guys something, right? Ipswich at home, right? Leicester at home, Leicester away, right? Brighton away, where we were 2-0 up at halftime, right? Those 4 games, if we won them, that's 11 points more. Am I asking for too much, right? Am I asking for too much to beat a promoted side 3 times more, right? And the Brighton team where we are 2-0 up, right? If we had those 11 points, we are sitting 6th right now.
Yeah.
Right? This is the most fucked up thing, right? Because I've been saying this plenty of times, right? I feel bad for Ange for this injury crisis, right? Whether we think it's his fault that some of those players are injured or not, different thing, right? Purely when I watch this team play, when I watch this squad, right? When I watch some of the games where we couldn't fill the bench, right? Where I watch some of the games where we had no energy, we had no one to bring in from the bench, right? In that sense, I kind of feel bad, right? And even with this context, if he won the games he's supposed to win, like I said, 3 games against promoted sides and Brighton Brighton away where we are 2-0 up, right? It puts us in a Champions League spot. That's the most fucked up thing, right? Because all the criticism Ange gets right now, fully deserved. I will criticize him. I will not back, right? I stand by what I said over past few months. He deserves the criticism he got, right? And for me, he deserves to be sacked long time ago, right? And I still think he deserves to be sacked, right? But it's the worst part is a couple results different, right? If he actually was like a half decent manager, I'm not asking him to be Pep, right? But you don't have to be Pep to beat Leicester at home. Leicester, who out of last 12 games lost 11, and the only win they have is against us. Like
Mike,
this is the most. Can I bring in Matt a minute, guys? Because I know Matt's got a bit to say on this. He hasn't spoken for a bit.
I just
go on, Dan. Go on.
Look, I just think this manager for me is that bad. One thing, I just think this manager is that bad at what he does. I think he's got the same right to use the words that Jose Mourinho used to say, and can truly stand there and say, "I'm special." If you get what I mean.
Matt, go for it, bro.
Yeah, look, I think the warning signs were in the transfer window in the summer when the wage bill was slashed dramatically, and no experience, no Premier League experience was brought into the squad. When you look at Højbjerg, who I think people forget how important he was for us when he was coming off the bench in games last season. You know, we were either losing games or it was very tight games, and he'd come on and shore up that midfield, and we'd go on and score 2 quick goals in the second half and win games. And I just thought the alarm bells for me was when that level of know-how. There's an argument that we needed to upgrade him, of course, but if you allow players like Højbjerg to leave your football club and you do not bring in anything similar in age, in experience, in know-how, that was the first red flag for me. Obviously, bringing back Timo Werner was another red flag. And I think it's clear. I sent some stuff to Stal about Aston Villa's salaries, because forget Chelsea and Man United, because we're never going to pay those salaries. But if you look at our equivalent, which is a club like Aston Villa, the moment that they've got some sort of momentum, the moment where they're in the ascendancy, they strike while the iron's hot. As Ian asked the question, why don't we, when the transfer window starts, why don't we make 2 or 3 signings quickly? Because Villa do. They had those players lined up. Soon as the January transfer window was in, they had the guy from Dortmund. He was done. They let Philogene go to, I believe, he went out to
Ipswich.
Yeah, right. So it was all a domino effect. Players, agents, everything, personal terms was already agreed before the transfer window opened in January. So they were ready to go. Rashford was the icing on the cake. But you got a club like Tottenham that you realise that Solanke, which is a bad injury that he got, you go into January and you cannot bank on Richarlison. His Tottenham career tells you he misses more games than he plays. What do? Jonathan David is screaming to come to London, wants to play for a London club. We don't even approach him. Do you want to know why? Because he's on £120,000 a week.
Yeah.
You look at our wage bill. I just checked, Michael. Tal's on £80,000 a week.
Oh.
He's perfect for Spurs. He's perfect for Spurs. The players around that 20, 40, 60, 80,000, Spurs are in the hunt. Once they start getting to 90, 100,000 or above, we'll register our interest. We're monitoring. We like them. And then we'll use all those words. And in the meantime, Liverpool, Villa, Chelsea, Man United, deal's done. In 2 days, done.
You have just gone.
Pardon?
No. I was going to say you have just gone through Brian Daigle's bingo card. Buzzword.
Yeah. Interested, monitoring, looking at, observing.
Yeah.
You know, the moment they get to 90, 100,000 or more, we'll use all those words. We like them. We like the player. We're aware of the player. If they're 40,000, that's when we start to. So Tal's perfect. He's £80,000. He's in our ballpark. So those are the questions that fans need to ask. Why are football clubs like Aston Villa, who 5 years ago were in the Championship, why are they making signings as quickly and better players that are oven ready? We're gambling on Tal. We're gambling on a 19-year-old. We're gambling on Odegaard. We're gambling on what? Why are Tottenham gambling on those players? Why?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because Aston Villa have got owners that want to win things.
Yeah. Mark, quickly, guys, guess. Don't check any of you.
It's because Levy out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Without checking, guys, right? Guess how much Danso is on.
I heard he's on 30 or 35k a week.
25. About 40 in it.
25k.
Perfect.
According
to like the site I checked on, right, and it's quite relevant.
Can I say that is a fantastic deal then, because he's pretty good for 25 grand.
By the way, he looks wicked, right? Like wicked, like.
I think he's looked good. I think he's actually looked
perfect signing.
And you've got to bring it back to the question: is that why we built a £1 billion stadium?
Mark, Mark, can I come in with an interesting stats? It's down to the recruitment more than the wages. Our wage bill, I think, is down to about 110, and Liverpool's is 130. That's all it is. 129, I think. 129 million. So that shows you, doesn't it? You know, and
how many have they got? 100,000 or more, Ian?
100,000. Let me tell you, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, that eclipses Spurs.
They've got 12. We got 6. But you know,
and one of those alone.
Well, Ian, see now when you apply that metric to the equation, it looks different, doesn't it? Spurs won't do that.
That's right. I mean, you look at
Ian. Then they must have a lot of players on really low wages that must be them. So therefore, they must have a lot of kids that have come through the ranks.
Well, I'll read you out. Joe Gomez, 85 a week. Simicas, 75. Canate, 70. Luis Diaz, 55. Endo, 50.
Luis Diaz is on 55k a week.
55. Yeah. Endo, 50.
Wow.
Harvey Elliott, 40. Quansert, 30. Curtis Jones, 15. Connor Bradley, 10. Kelleher, 10. And Jaros, 7. And as you go over 100, you've got Sloboslai, 120. Gakpo, 120. Nunes, 140. Jota, 140.
Ian, as soon as they win the league, that's all changing. I'm telling you now. That's all fucking changing. Their agents will be knocking on that door.
Sure, you got McAllister, you got McAllister, Gravenberch, Chiesa, and Allison on 150. Andy Robertson 160. Trent 180. Van Dijk 220. Salah 350.
There you go. By the way, partially that's the issue.
The double.
By the way, partially that's the issue with the contracts they have right now, right? Because FSG are also a bit stingy, so they don't really want to, give Salah what he wants and give Van Dijk what he wants, right? And they are trying to negotiate with them, right? That's what we get from media, right?
Mike,
because I wouldn't be surprised if Salah wants like 450 or something, right? And he deserves it, by the way. But when they give him 450, then Van Dijk is knocking on the door. I want 350, right? And then Trent is knocking on the door. I want 300, right? And then McAllister is knocking on the door. I want 200, right? Yeah. And you just elevate the ladder, right?
The other side of it as well is playing for Liverpool is a bit of an honour. People who play for Liverpool will take it as an honour, and they will take 30, 40 grand less to play for Liverpool. Whereas at Spurs, you need to play them 60, 70 grand more to play at Tottenham. Oh, yeah, I forgot as well. I mean, I don't know.
But it's also, Dan, it's not just an honour, it's almost a guarantee of silverware.
And we're not allowed to call I mean, Daniel Levy has got so much on his mind about the club at the moment that he goes and makes a complaint that he don't want us calling Tottenham anymore. We have to call them Spurs or Tottenham Hotspur.
See, I think Ian does make a good point, though. there is. Levy's going to change us to the Hotspur Hurricanes. I've told everyone this.
No, he's actually made an official thing out to the press about it. Did you not see it this morning? He's actually done an official thing. He's actually done an official letter to the press. Yeah. It was on that he doesn't want Tottenham related to as Tottenham. It has to be Tottenham Hotspur or Spurs.
Yeah, I've seen that. Because they don't want us to be associated with the neighborhood or something, right?
That's right. He's that bothered. He's that bothered about winning things. He's gone and done that.
Listen, they tried to stop us using the word yids. We still chant it. They can take away the name of the club. We'll use it. Whatever they do, we'll fight them. I do think Ian, though, has got a point that Liverpool's recruitment has definitely been better than Spurs. There's no doubt. Their scouting has been far superior to us. And what's annoying is the guy that run the data analytics over there that built up that clock team,
Michael Edwards.
He was at Spurs. We couldn't hold on to him. That's right. And he's gone there and he's done the business. Like, you got to admit though, like they do recruit really well, Liverpool. I think there's the odd dud. Like, look, Darwin Núñez is a dud. They got it wrong. That's a lot of money. They got it
85 million.
They got it wrong. They got it wrong. and they do sign the odd dud. But when you look at the players they've signed, McAllister, Jota, Diaz. Listen, they're not
Gravenberg.
Gravenberg,
it's
Konate.
the
They're not.
intent.
Soberslai's showed his worth now.
But
They're not. These are good players they've signed.
Still, it's the intent, yeah. So when they sell Coutinho, right, they sign 2 or 3 players of 60 million. Yeah. If we banked 130, 125, whatever the fee was for Coutinho, we'd spread that with 8 players. You know, it's a big difference.
We sold Bale for 85. We signed 7 players. We sold Kane for 100 million. We signed 5 players. No, you're right, Matt. You're right.
By the way,
I'm working. Sorry, go on, Michael.
Go.
Finish your point, Matt. Let Matt finish your point.
Finish your point.
I'm working on some data about the money that the top 10 have spent since Levy took over, and how many players have been signed. So what's used a lot now is Levy spent money. He has spent money. He spent X amount. But I think it's a little bit misleading because we've bought a lot more players with that money than our equivalents. So, for example, it's something, I'm just working it at the moment, but it's something ridiculous, like 80-something players that we've spread that money across, where our equivalents are like 45 players. So they're spending, their individual player is costing like 35, 40 million per player. Ours is 18 million per player because it's spread over a lot more players.
Matt, before the January window, I worked out the first team squad cost Spurs 511 million, I think it was. And I think there's an average, it averages about 21 million, 22 million per player.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And that's the issue. That's that, you know, in a nutshell, you know, Bale, with the Bale money, I think they sold, I think was Calderwood as well, 2 or 3 others. They had 107 million that came in, and they spent 107 million. And, you know, and they bought 7 players. And out of those 7 players, literally only Ericsson was a success. Lamella partial at times, but was always injured. And the rest of them, you can kick into touch. And they were a complete waste of time. I remember getting up.
Paulinia.
I remember getting up at the AGM.
Chichariles, remember him? Chichariles?
Yeah, That's horrendous. I got up at an AGM and I went up. Kamodi was up there, and I went after him, and I said to him, "You're just useless." I mean, I literally piled into the guy. You know, his buying was dreadful. Probably for about 85% of the players he bought, they were dreadful. There were 2 or 3 nuggets that he got, but the rest were just hopeless. And what's going on here? You know, Andrew's brought in since he started. He's brought in 16 or 17 players, and half of them are kids. Yeah. You know, you got
the wage bill. Look at the wage bill.
That's right. Phillips, Veliz is 2, Kinski's 3, Gray, Bergvall, Odegaard at 6, Yang 7. I'm sure there's more. There's hardly, you know, there's 6 or 7 established players.
I think when it comes down to it, guys, when we moved into this stadium, all the hype and the fanfare around it and the way it was built up was that this stadium, when we hear the word game changer, we associate that with signing experienced household names. But what game changer meant was, yeah, we'll spend more, but we're not going to bring in the kind of players you think. That's the bit we weren't told. It was,
but we still buy the same crap.
Well, it's project.
It's busy.
He
looks busy still. You know, the shopping basket looks busy. It looks like there's a lot in there, but it's tat. You know, and sorry, go on, Ian.
It was a game changer for ENIC. That's all. That's it. Wasn't a game changer.
That's exactly what it's become. That's exactly what it's become. Yeah.
And the thing is, I think Levy looked at Ndombele and he looked at the Celso, and he looked at Perisic, and he looked at the wages that he was paying them players who were either injured or, not performing. And I think he looked at that book and thought, I am absolutely going to rip up this wage bill. So the manager that's going to agree with that is who I'm going to hire. He's in the wrong business of football. Because if you're going to be a big club, you make successes and you make failures when you make signings. They're not always guaranteed. And he looked at that Ndombele salary and he must have thought to himself, I'm going to do a year or two of trimming that wage bill. And he must have sat Ange down and Ange must have said, no problem. That's why I think there must be assurances. He looks too confident to me after these defeats, because any other manager of Tottenham under Levy's regime would have been gone by now.
Yeah.
I think there must be in some sort of agreement to say, listen, I'm going to trim this wage bill. I'm going to go with some youngsters. I'm going to bring in some unready players.
Matt,
what do you think?
Matt,
And he must have said, yeah.
If you're 59, you're thinking to yourself, do you know what? I'm on a £5 million a year job. If he kicks me out now, I'll get 12 million. Thank you very much. I'll sail into the sunset. Have a nice life. That's me and my family,
Ian,
with financial independence.
we're set up for life.
Care. He doesn't
Ian,
care.
Do you know his biggest transfer up until he came to Spurs? His record transfer. Have a guess who the player.
20 million? 20 million?
One of the Japanese players, right? One of the Japanese players.
His record signing was Cameron Carter Vickers.
6 million?
From
That
us.
was 6 million.
£6 million pounds.
6 million.
That was his record signing. So you imagine he sits down in that interview with Levy. He's in paradise.
Matt, I've said it a couple of times, right? Because when he is interviewed and asked about the transfer windows and all that stuff, right? And he says that the club is backing me and all that stuff, right? I actually think he means it because of what you said, right?
Exactly. He believes it. He actually believes it.
Because, watch it from his perspective, right? He was the manager of Celtic and even his previous clubs where it was even lower, scale, let's call it, right? So when he comes to Celtic, right, and Celtic allow him to revamp the squad and he does it for, let's say, 25 million euros. I don't know how much they spent, right? But let's just, for the sake of an argument, right? He revamps the squad for 25 millions, right? His biggest signing is Cameron Carter-Vickers for 6 million, right? Yeah. And then he gets poached and comes to us, right? And we buy him Solanke for 65. In his, or 55 with add-ons, right? Whatever, right? Yeah, twice as much as he has spent in Celtic on 10 players. For him, from his perspective, right? It looks like we are backing him, right? Because we spent money on him, right? So
his first transfer window, he gets Maddison for 40 million. He swam the channel. He's going round to his missus going, I spent 40 million.
Still, can you email me the link because my phone's about to die and I can go onto the computer?
Yeah, I'll do it now.
Cheers. And I'm just looking at the Spurs payroll here.
How much is Van der Ven on? How much is Van der Ven on?
50k, I think, or 60.
50k.
I mean, that tells you everything. That tells you everything about Tottenham.
I've not got the new guys on. I've not got Kinski. I'm going up. Whiteman 7.5. Bergvall and Austin 15. Odebear and Danso 25. Van der Ven, Spence on 50. Reggie on 50.
Kinski's on 20, by the way.
He's on 20. Okay.
Yeah, he's on 20.
Reggie on 53. Basuma 55. Sarr and Johnson on 70.
Tells you everything.
Vicario, Udogi, Archie Gray and Forster and Benson Core on 75. Tell on 80 as well as Davis. Porro and Dragusin on 85. Richarlison and Solanke on 90, and then you've got the 5 over 100. You got Kulu
So,
on
Ian.
100. You got Kulu on 110, Werner on 165, Romero 165, Madison 170, and Son 190.
So, Ian,
And
your
it's a
record
total
signing.
of 122 and 3/4 million. Arsenal, I think, is 196. Liverpool, I think,
Liverpool 126 or 129, something like that.
Liverpool is 135.
Oh,
So
okay.
your record signing at Tottenham is Dominic Solanke, and he's on
Yeah.
He's on 90. Yeah.
£90,000 a week. I mean, what does that tell you about a club that wants to win trophies? Your record signing.
Yeah. Man City's 255.6. What's Man United? Man United is 195.5. And Chelsea must be just over 200.
Yeah, and also like if you look, just go if you want to check it yourselves, right? There is a site called Capology. It's CAPOLOGY,
Yeah.
right?
By the way, Ipswich is 39.5.
Yeah, but
So we're closer to them.
Yeah, the point I was making, right? The point I was making is because we are only like 20. Sorry, someone is listening to something in the background. I can hear like a TV or something. I think I'm not sure if it's whatever. That doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter. Sorry, coming back to my point. Coming back to my point, like we are 20 million behind Liverpool, right? But you look at their wage bill, and they have like 13 players. I think it was over 100k or like 15, and we have 5, right? And you wonder why we are so close to them, even though they have like 3 times the amount of players on over 100k, right? If you look at our wage bill, right, we have, I think I counted like 16 or 17 players between 90k and 50k, right? So if you watch our wage bill, it basically goes like that, right? You know, we peak around 70k or something like that, right? We have a couple players on this end of the spectrum and a couple players on this end of the spectrum. Whereas Liverpool, it goes more like that, right? Or sorry, like that. I should have said like that, right? They have players in each like wage category, right? The youngsters and the homegrown players earn less, right? The stars earn a shitload, right? It's more balanced, right? Whereas I think and by the way, we also have 30 players on the wage bill, whereas Liverpool have 25, right? So there is also that to take into consideration. So when you like put all of this together, right? And when you actually pair it also with the fact that we spend the lowest percent of our revenue on wages, right? You can just look at this. We can like F off 6 players or 7 players, right? In the summer, I hope we do, right? We sell some of those players. And if we went from like 42% of our revenue, I think, which is what we spend right now, 42%, and we go to like 60, right? Which is still less, 30% less than Villa, right? We can eclipse Liverpool in total wage, like total amount of money we spent on wages, right? And we don't have to, like, it's not like you have to, like, I know it's mad money we are talking about. It's millions of pounds we are talking about here, right? But still, when you look at that, again, we come back to the point where I think this club chooses not to do that, right? This club has the ability to do that, and we just choose not to be competitive, right? This is the most sickening thing about this club. We just choose not to be competitive.
They're not interested. Club's not interested in the football.
They don't care about success. They're not. They've never have been interested in trophies. This is why we go to the protest. That's why 2,000 fans protested. But the problem is, most fans accept it. Bring it, big boy. Channel member 21 months says, "When will it end? Still, I don't know. We will lose against Bournemouth. Is that home or away? It's home, isn't it?
Home. We are going to the game still.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be at that. That's actually a game I will be at. Michael will be there with me.
We will
as well.
be there.
We will be there.
Still, Al Riches has asked, where was I in 78 when we were in Division 2? I was there at a lot of the games.
Who asked that? Where was Lubo in 1978 Division 2?
I can remember it.
You do.
Were you there as well, Mark?
Some of them, but I was only about 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Michael, you're in luck. Apparently, there's a protest planned on the Bournemouth day, so we'll be protesting.
You'll be there. You'll be there.
I'll bring some fucking Polish energy to that classic.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Baseball bats, nunchucks, smoke grenades.
Just depends.
I hope my singing mate box office is there to join me again. Where are you, Alex?
By the way, don't worry, Stella. I won't do anything mad, right? I don't want to get arrested in England.
Mate, if you don't want to get arrested in England, just don't put anything on Facebook. You'll be all right.
Yeah, and don't say on stream you will do something.
Just don't Facebook, and you can do anything. Mate, you can rob from shops, you can stab people, but just don't put a comment on Facebook. That's how it works.
Because that'll get you about 3 years over here.
Definitely get 3 years.
I've heard about that. Mad.
Do you know what? I know we're going off topic. You know that member of parliament that punched someone 10 times in the street and they got 10 weeks?
10 weeks. Fucking weeks.
Has he resigned yet?
No, not yet.
He's still not resigned.
He hasn't even sacked.
He's appealing it.
He's appealing it. There's video evidence. Anyway, he got 10 weeks, yet someone else who put something bad on Facebook got 2.5 years. What the fuck has happened? It's mad. It's mad. Michael, don't worry about the protest. You're perfectly safe.
Yeah.
Perfectly safe. Just don't video it and put it on Facebook. Just don't put it on Facebook.
Well done, Al Riches. I wasn't at Sunderland in the 77-78 season. Mansfield, last minute, Glenn Hoddle free kick got us a 3-3 draw. That was the game Barry Daines came running out and completely missed the ball, and the guy walked the ball into
Glenn Hoddle. Listen to the names you're mentioning.
Legends.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Guys, I've got one last question before I wrap it up. Because I want to wrap it up in. I only want to do a 2-hour show, so we've got another 8 minutes to go. Realistically, what do Spurs do with the rest of this season? Because on the one hand, you can't just go into every game and just say, right, just whoever plays, doesn't matter if we win, lose or draw. You've got to play to win games. And the Europa Cup is now, our whole season runs on this Europa Cup. So how do you see the rest of this season panning out? What if you were Ange, what would you do? How would you play this?
I think it's all got to be geared towards the Europa League still. You know, when we finish 16th or 10th, you know, in terms of we're not going down, we're not getting into Europe via the league. So for me, it's about the Europa League. If they win that, then Levy is happy and he gets Champions League football.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
So the 1,000.
So when he doesn't play Spence tonight, when he drops Son, we can't complain then.
If it's all about the Europa and he's rotating players, then if they win it, then he's the hero. And if we don't, if we go out, then he's gone, isn't he? He'll be gone. He'll have his P45 the next day, I reckon.
But by the way, yeah. Sorry, go on. Go on, mate. You go first. You go first, mate. You go first.
Okay. I agree with Ian. That's basically what I said on the Sabbath show and what I said earlier. We've got to prioritise that Europa Cup. It's the only thing that can save our season. But there is a way to do it. If there's a 3 or 4 game space, then I totally get it if he puts more of a second team out for the league. I get that, yeah. But then also, if you win that game, that boosts you up for the next game. But still, when there's an 8-game gap or a 2-week gap or whatever, he shouldn't be doing that. You don't have to do that. But it's Ange, isn't it? So I definitely agree with that. We got to prioritise the Europa. If there's, like I say, if there's a 3 or 4 day difference between the games, then I totally get if he puts a not so good team out for the league and puts his full team in for the Europa. But when you've got over a week's difference on it, he shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else? What's your thoughts on the rest of this season? I'm just a bit concerned that if we just focus purely on the Europa, we're not keeping players on their toes by not giving. Matt. The more okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you rest, you're not in that match zone. You're not in game day zone.
The thing for me is, right, like we cannot just go from suddenly playing youth in the league and the first team in the Europa League, right? This first team still has to play in the league, right? And by the way, just purely for their professional pride, right? They have to rectify this league a bit, right? Because we like on technicality, there is no difference between finishing 16th and 9th, right? There is literally no difference. Like probably like 10 million pounds in prize pool, right? Because I think it goes 2 million pounds per place, right? There is a difference in money, not a big one, right? For the size of our club. But for their own professional pride, they cannot finish 16th, some of those players, right? And that's why I think we cannot just completely give up on the league and just completely, bend over and let teams have a way with us, right? In the league, and just focus on the Europa League, right? But Europa League is Europa League is the primary focus, right? And with the game like today, right? I actually don't mind that he dropped Kulusevski, because he played 90 minutes like 3 days ago. I think it was.
By the way, Kulu was terrible when he came on.
Yeah, but like this guy
he was terrible when he came on. Kulu.
I think I saw that Kulu was subbed off once this season, right? And he played something like 12 90-minute games in a row, right?
I think Kulu didn't Kulu say this week that he's been running at 50%.
Yeah, or less, right? So I understand why he got dropped, right? And I don't expect him to pick up and go to 100% because he got 60 minutes of rest, right? But I don't mind dropping Kulusevski, right? Spence, I don't understand how Spence was dropped, right? Spence played 13 games this season. What you are telling me he has no energy to play, right? I don't understand dropping Spence, and based on performances that Spence put in, right? But long story short, as you guys have said, right, this season Europa League is the primary focus, right? And by the way, don't be surprised if this fat wank somehow wins the Europa League, right? And he stays for another season. Don't be surprised, right? Because this season is just fucked up. I don't understand what's going on this season, right? But it would be just like him to win this Europa League for some reason. And by the way, I will be shamelessly celebrating. I'm not taking back my criticism of him, but I will be shamelessly celebrating.
Of course you will. Of course you will if we win something. But if it goes the way you said,
we're not winning.
I said if, and I don't believe we will, right? You know my stance. I don't believe we will win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Right? I think he is like with what Pep did to him today. Like Lazio managers and Bilbao managers, they will do the same thing to him, right? So we are not winning the Europa League. But if we do, right? If we do, Lord have mercy.
If we do, then Mike is
Lord have mercy.
Mike, if we do, I don't see it happening personally. I think it's basically like you said, have their way sort of thing, and every which way we lose. Basically.
That would be Tottenham though to go and finish 16th and win the Europa.
Yeah,
it would be the most Spursy thing ever done. It's not going to happen.
No, it won't. It'll be Tottenham to finish 16th, get to the final, and fuck it up. That's what Tottenham do.
This will be Tottenham, yeah.
What are we doing here? do you know what? I've now got to go through 2 months of this with Spurs fans in these shows where we are going to go through past AZ Alkmaar. I think we'll get to the semis, and it's just going to go on and on and. Do you know
the season? Really, it's can't wait for the end of this season and regroup. And please God, we get a new manager.
Ian, I felt like that since October. Then when we come to this show and you all said to me, "Still, you're right, man. We're worried about you." And I said, "Guys, I'm done. I know where this goes. I checked out in October."
I was on a show last week, and one of the questions was, "What's the priority for this summer?" And for me, it's new owners. Please God, one day we get them. We get new owners, get Munn out, get Ange out, get Lange out. Seriously, just the whole lot. Levy as well. Let's get people in, serious, proper football people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, owners that will marry financial success and football success in equal measure. You know, because people aren't going to spend a few billion, you know, in a philanthropic way. They're going to come and they're going to want to make a profit. But that's fine. Make a profit and make the club successful at the same time. You'll deserve it. You
This
know,
is how bad it's getting now. I'm looking forward to the international break.
I'm not. It's not that bad.
We'll probably pick up a few injuries as well.
Well,
we haven't for a couple of games, have we? Let's not talk too soon.
Romero will be injured playing for us.
Who's going to be back next? I think maybe Romero will play next week, and you'll have Romero and Danso at the back in out.
Apparently, Ange said that they are like planned to be back by Bournemouth for second leg Alkmaar, right? Van de Ven, Solanke, and Romero, like somewhere around that time.
Did you hear in one of his many interviews, and he kind of gave a clue? I'm not sure if any of you picked it up. And they asked him the weekend against Ipswich. He said, "I
don't listen to him anymore. I don't believe anything he says."
I do. I try and listen and read his transcripts. And one of the reporters asked him, "Why did you move Danso to the left and play Archie Gray on the right against Ipswich?" And he said that he wanted to see Danso play on the left because he thinks he's going to be needed for the rest of this season. And that got me thinking about Van de Ven.
Sure.
And it got me thinking, I'm not sure when Van de Ven, it sounds like Romero's coming back before Van de Ven if he's talking about playing Danso on the left. I don't think Van de Ven plays in either game against I'll be amazed.
The only thing that makes me think that Van de Ven will play like quite soon is that there are plenty of like training videos where he's present with the team training, like with the first team, right? So I think they are seriously taking it slow with both Van de Ven and Romero. I think they just made a calculated decision to sacrifice some of the games and not bring them in and make them fit, right? But I don't think it's worth it, right? Let me put it the other way, right? They majorly fucked up with Chelsea, and they know that, right? They know that they effed up with putting them both against Chelsea and getting them injured again, right? So
does he really?
I'm not even talking about him, Dan, right? I'm talking about the medical stuff, right? Because they are not letting him use them, right? And we've seen Romero and Van de Ven for quite some time in training videos, right? Training with the team.
I haven't seen Van de Ven for the last couple of days. He's not in a video in the last couple of days.
Even today they did they do those social media posts. There was one where that they have like a question to the players. They come into the building and they answer the question, right? And the question was like, "Well, is the social media manager's job easy?" or something like that, right? And Van de Ven was there with the whole group coming off the pitch, right, into the training center. So I think he is part of the trainings, right? But I just think they are taking it really, really, really slow to know.
It's an interesting thing that Matt said. If you remember, Dragusin came in last season, looked okay on the right side, put him on the left at Fulham, and he looked all at sea, didn't he? And I think Danso today on the left looked, you wouldn't think he was a right-footed player. I think he had a really good game. I think personally, I think he's much better than Dragusin. Personally, he's not sure he's as good as Dragusin. Yeah, but on the ground, I think he's a much better player. And for me, to get him at 20 million, 25 million, I think it's a really good deal. Again,
he looks like a very stable player. Nothing special, nothing particularly good at anything as such.
Solid.
He looked he looks like he's got it up there.
Yeah.
He looks like he can read the game a lot better than some of the players I have seen. Like I said, nothing special. He's not going to try nothing funky. And he has also got the attitude, I think, of when in doubt, just kick it out, no matter what the manager says, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think he's a very much old school mentality defender as such, which we need. That's how he comes across over the games I've seen him.
To play in Angie's system, especially in defence, you have to be mobile. You have to be able to cover the ground quickly, and which makes it a little bit crazy why we went for Dragerson, because the one thing Dragerson is not is mobile. You know, he needs people around him. He's big and strong. He's a physical presence, but he's not mobile. You know, Milk turns quicker than him at times. So I don't understand why that was the signing. But do you ever remember the film Speed with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves? And they're on the bus and there's no brakes. And they're just driving, and there's no brakes on the bus, and that's almost how Ange sets Spurs up. There's nobody's in position. It's just helter skelter. We're always sprinting back. Have you ever noticed we lose the ball? There's 4 or 5 players making 50, 60-yard sprints. They're never in their position. So
the problem is, Matt,
was the
you haven't got the players who can hold on to the ball sufficiently long enough.
Correct.
And that's more the issue than anything else. If you had someone, say, like Grealish, holding on to the ball and you know, he can hold it, he can carry it.
Good in possession.
We wouldn't get caught up pitch, you know, and lose possession the way we do. And that way, all of a sudden, you know, we saw it today, didn't we, on several occasions. Lost the ball, players sprinting back. You know, and if the other team is even quick, then we're never going to get back in time.
Porro really struggles. You know, I think the emergence of Spence really shows you how Porro is not suited to play that position. Mm-hmm. He really struggles. If you notice, a ball went down the side and him and Dogu went shoulder to shoulder and he ragdolled him. He doesn't have the physicality to play that position. If you notice, even in the cameo that Spence had, both wingers didn't look confident to take him on. If you notice, they kind of checked. I think the word in the football must be, you're going to come second in the foot race with Spence. It reminds me a little bit, not in ability, but it reminds me a little bit when we had Kyle Walker. Wingers used to check. They never used to take Kyle Walker on when he really was on song at Spurs. And Porro's the wrong profile to play that position for Tottenham. He doesn't have the physicality. Right. He struggles to run.
Matt, and if you notice, game after game after game, other teams focused behind Porro. They're all focused down their left and our right. Every single match, this goes on. It's no secret. Every team does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Porro is not a fullback. He's a wing back. Spence is a fullback.
He cannot get back. He cannot
get back. It was the same at Sporting Lisbon. Football Heritage TV says 2003-2004, we lost 19 games. If we lose one more game this season, will be our worst since that year. P.S. Ange doesn't have a system. Can we stop pretending he does? Let's be honest for once. Do you know one stat I saw today? Thanks a lot, by the way, Sava. Big up. One stat I saw today. In Poch's first 3 seasons, or there's 3 seasons in a row, we've lost more games this season than Poch lost in 3 seasons combined.
It's but you look at the quality of our first 11 against Poch's 11.
Look at the way we were coached to defend though as well.
Yeah, I loved when after those first 10 games, right, there were fans saying, "Oh, we are better than we were under Poch," right? I still stand. I still stand by what I said, right? If 16-17 Poch team that went second in the league, right, played this version of Spurs, right, 7-0, I think. Like with prime Son, prime Kane, prime Eriksen, prime Dele, Wanyama and Dele, right? Jan and Toby at the back, Rose and Walker, and young Lloris in the goal, right? If that team played against Ange's team,
we get beat up.
This is how reactionary the fan bases are, and it's not only our fan base. Every fan base does this, right? But this is how reactionary they are, right? And trust me, like I honestly think this 10-game period that we had at the beginning of the previous season, right, is the worst thing that could happen, right? Because it just gives people fuel for some reason to believe that we can go back to that, right? And they present this 10-game period as an evidence that we can get better, right? But we have a 50-game period where as an evidence that we won't, right?
Work.
five times as big of a sample size, right? And still, because we won 8, drew 2, right? People still think we can go back to that, right? And I'm not, again, I said it today, right? I think when or if Solanke, Van de Ven, and Romero come back and we don't get more injuries, right? I think we will play better, right? We will have a focal point up front, right? We will have a pacey center back that can cover for some of the issues, right? The system still sucks, right? But the overall level of players will raise a bit, right? You have more options off the bench and all that stuff, right? So I think we will play a bit better. But this 10-game period, it's not coming back, right?
I must say, Mike, if he hadn't have had those 10 games last season, I reckon he would have been sacked at the end of in the last year.
100%.
Well, if you think we wouldn't have those 10 games, if he wouldn't have had that, those first 10 games saved our entire season.
Yeah.
And I said to everyone at the start of this season, watch. He's going to have trouble because he hasn't got those first 10 games to cover his arse this year.
Right.
Lo and behold.
Listen, boys and girls, we're going to wrap it up. It's been over 2 hours, as always. Thanks to everyone that's come on the show tonight. Make sure you subscribe to Dan's channel, Hotspur Hood. Make sure you subscribe to Mark's channel, The 2 Mark Show. We will be back. I don't know when we're going to be back. Maybe we'll do a show sometime this week. If not, next Monday we'll definitely be back on. Check us out there. And then, tomorrow on Big Up, doing a post-match analysis show where we get up the tactics board and the replays of the goals and we explain it all. Matt might be joining me. He always says he's going to join, but then he doesn't turn up. So maybe Matt will be there. We'll find out. Otherwise, thank you to the people that put in the super chat, sending the channel members, Tony, Marlon, LMI, Fifth Elemento, Football Heritage TV. Big up to everyone. Make sure you subscribe to Football Heritage TV as well. Boys and girls, good night. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All right then. Bye.
Bye.
Same Spurs, different day.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.